Glasgow Care Foundation is a small Glasgow charity doing big things for the people of Glasgow. We support people living in poverty in our city.
Cheryl and Amanda at Glasgow Care Foundation really make a difference in a number of people's lives. They offer furniture support, which makes a house a home. On top of that, they adapt to emergencies with their supermarket vouchers, which really helps people in really bad situations. It's safe to say without Glasgow Care Foundation, a lot of people would be much worse off. They're a really great organisation, and the tenants in the house can't thank them enough.
The Glasgow Care Foundation have been a lifeline by providing financial support to some vulnerable people I've been working with when no one else could provide this support.
The Glasgow Care Foundation have been an excellent lifeline for some of our local people by providing essential household items. The referral and application process is seamless. Cheryl at the Glasgow Care Foundation always provides an amazing prompt response and has support in place for someone in such a quick turnaround time. Thank you, Glasgow Care Foundation.
Are you looking for your next charity of the year? Are you able to make a small donation on a regular basis or a one-off? Are you doing some fundraising where you would perhaps keep us in mind? We would appreciate that. For full information on how you can help us, please visit glasgowcarefoundation.org.
Good morning to everybody watching our first Glasgow Care Foundation live panel event. I'm Heather from Worm from Growth and delighted to be here with a group of panellists who I all know through networking, which is the theme of our event today. So I'll let everyone introduce themselves, but today's panel is all about the power of networking and how important that is to Glasgow Care Foundation. Everyone here, like I said, I have met through business networks, some through others, and I can vouch that it works. 3 out of 4 people here I work with regularly. No pressure, Lee. You can make it 4. So networking is so important. So before we start, first of all, thank you to Thomas Haywood for making and providing that video for Glasgow Care Foundation. So I'm just going to go around the table here, starting on my left, and ask everyone to introduce themselves. So Lee, over to you.
Thank you so much, Heather. It's a pleasure and a privilege to join you all this morning on your first GCF panel. My name, for everybody who's watching and listening today, is Lee Foster. I'm the owner of Revitalise Connecting People Limited. I'm also the founder of the Revitalise Business Club, and I launched Revitalise back in 2017 as a coffee and conversation networking event back at the Fenwick Hotel in Ayrshire. And over the last few years, I've been developing and producing, facilitating all the activities now that has become the global Revitalise Business Club, with loads of activities to help people nurture and grow their business networking. Heather, thanks very much for the introduction. Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. Tracy?
Thanks, Heather, and thanks, Heather and Elaine, for having me here. It's really nice to be part of your first event. My name is Tracy Scott. I am co-founder of a software company, XIX, and we provide software for opticians. But more relevant for today, I'm the current president at Scottish Women in Business, and we're all about networking. So we put on events where people can come along to like a shared interest, maybe a motivational speaker or a training event, and then there's lots of networking on the back of that. So that's what I do.
Thanks, Tracy. Laura?
Hello everybody, and thanks, as the guy said, for having me on your first panel event. This is brilliant to be here. So my name is Laura Maginess. I'm the founder of the Glasglow Girls Club and the GGC Business Club. Our focus is encouraging women to grow and glow, and we do that via virtual in-person events, networking, learning platforms and offers.
Thanks, Laura. And Elaine, just in case nobody knows who you are, quick introduction.
Hi everyone, thanks to all of you for coming along this morning and giving up your time to help us promote the charity. I'm Elaine Sargent. I'm the fundraising and marketing manager at the Glasgow Care Foundation.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Elaine, you are the proper serial networker, so I think everyone in Glasgow that's in the networking scene knows who you are. But Elaine, tell us a little bit about Glasgow Care Foundation and how important the networking and the business networks are to you and to the charity.
Well, the networking's been vital to our charity. Just to give you a wee bit of background, first of all, for anyone who doesn't know who we are, we were founded in 1874 in Glasgow by a group of businessmen who wanted to help the poorest people in the city. And fast forward, well, 148 years now, and sadly we're still doing the same work. We help families and individuals living in poverty in Glasgow. And as the video alluded, in the main, it takes the form of household goods. So perhaps someone doesn't have a cooker or a washing machine or a fridge or a bed, flooring, that type of thing. It's very, very basic items that we help with. And people are referred to us through a number of agencies in the Glasgow area who are working with the family or the individual that needs help. So they submit an application on our website. We then have a look at the application, contact the person or the family by phone and have a conversation, and then we supply and deliver the goods they need. It can't always be everything, but we do what we can for them within our budget. So we're kind of a small charity doing big things, as they say, and our motto is a helping hand, not a handout, because people often find it hard to accept help. So that's where we come in. You know, if they can't get help anywhere else, we will help them out. So the networking scene in Glasgow, as I said, has been vital for us to raise awareness of what we do, because we are such a small charity. We only have 4 part-time staff and our board of trustees are all volunteers. We don't get any funding from national or local government, so we're self-funded, and if people know what we do, then they can help us. Now that in a sense, in fundraising is excellent. I mean, that's our end goal. The more money that comes in, the more people we can help. It's as simple as that. But it also is very important that we raise awareness of the work we do, which is often what happens through the networking, because not everyone is in a position where they can help us in a monetary sense, but they might be talking to someone else who can, or they might be thinking about us perhaps being, you know, the charity of the year. SWIB is an excellent example of that. You know, I met TRACY and her colleagues through the networking scene, and we were very lucky to be selected as their charity of the year. Laura similarly has been very supportive in giving us courtesy adverts in our magazines and different things. And Lee has been a long-term ambassador of the Glasgow Care Foundation, as have some of the other network leads in the Glasgow area. You know, Colin McKean and Jim Meldon, to mention a couple, have been great. And Lee's been running around the country for us, raising funds, keeping fit at the same time. So it's just been vital for us, you know, to get that word out and get the message across who we are, what we do, and get people that can represent us. If we're not at networking, then there's always someone that can talk about what we do, which is great. So as you see, I'm a bit of the serial networker. I think folk are fed up looking at my face, but if it gets the word out, then fair enough.
Excellent. So yeah, it's true. I mean, I met Lee years ago now at, I can't remember where we met, but it'd been a networking event, maybe one of yours.
I know where it was, because I've got a good memory that remembers it was in Browns at Speedy Meat.
Ah, there you go. Another networking event. There you go.
Networking event. So yeah.
Yeah, I met Laura through networking, TRACY through SWIB, and then being on the committee, then met Elaine, and yeah, I think it just goes in circles. And that leads us on nicely to our next discussion point. So why are business networks, all your networks, why are they so important, particularly in today's world? And I suppose we can discuss maybe here as well, virtual versus online and how everyone's kept it going. But Laura, I'll start with you.
I think it's so important because I think as humans, we really do crave connection. And I think after lockdown and real life communities were taken away from us even more so, we crave that connection community. So the GGC community started in 2017. And I always like the saying that community, when broken down, is common unity. We look to other humans to have like similarities in life, be it business, parenting, if you're a student, you're an artist, because that support helps you get further, helps you kind of that idea of rising together. And through networking, there's a real power to it in meeting people and supporting each other.
Lee?
I mean, networking in general, from what I've done over the past 30 years or so, it's all in the relationships. It's the individuals that you meet, that you nurture, that you really sort of build upon. A phrase that I use quite regularly, it's not what you know, it's who knows what you know. But the key part of anything in networking in general is communication. A lot what Laura is saying there is 100% correct. But the main thing is the relationships. Mm-hmm. It's not the instantaneous relationship that you're building just now. It's actually the long-term relationships that you build with each other. We've known each other for over 4 years, but you've kept in communication all the way through that. And that's what the key is to networking in my eyes anyway. And I think it's in today's world, those relationships and communication hand in hand are extremely important, what we're doing, especially from learning from one another as well, because it's not just about the business, it's about learning about what each other does. And that takes time to really get to know somebody properly. And that's my thoughts on that point.
Absolutely does. I couldn't agree more, Lee. I think we've had this conversation quite often, that people buy people. So it's about the relationship. It's not that one-off meeting. It's establishing the relationship and following up and, getting to know the person, I suppose, and then perhaps who they're representing, which probably should be the other way around. But I think if people take to you, then they're more interested in what you're promoting or selling or asking for help with, I suppose.
Just add one other thing into that one as well, as what people forget about is that you are the brand. It's you, the person that they're dealing with. I talk about quite a lot, you might see behind me and stuff, but it's you as the individual they're taking a vested interest in. You could be a key influencer, you could be a decision maker, you could be your own business owner. The business is part of that, but it's you that they're taking an interest into finding out about, because it's you that will make the biggest difference to someone's business journey or just journey in general in supporting each other.
Definitely. I totally believe that people buy people, and especially you have to build up that trust with someone in order to recommend as well. And I think that's where you said, Lee, where it takes time. Laura, I love your community. That's brilliant. So it takes time to learn about someone, to trust them, and that's where the word of mouth comes in. So Tracy, obviously you're the president of a group of business women. So how important is the networking for SWIB?
I totally agree with everything that everybody said. It's about making long-term relationships and strong relationships. I've always said that if you're coming and you're coming there to get a sale on the first day or see who you can meet that can introduce you to somebody, like straight away you've got that focus, then you're in the wrong place, because that's not what we're about. Like over the last couple of years, obviously everybody has had to switch how they do things and had to switch to doing a lot of virtual events. And I think we won't stop doing that completely. It definitely still got its place, but it's not the same. You don't get to look at, properly look at the whites of somebody's eyes and just have a natural flow and chat. And that's where the relationship comes from, is being able to just walk in and say, it doesn't need to be, oh, where do you work? It's all like your shoot, anything that just starts a conversation. And the online stuff, it definitely got its place. And I think we've got what we're doing with that. I think we're set on how we're doing that and how that will continue. But you definitely lose a lot from that, and you need to get back to having the face-to-face natural chats where you can go up and keep that going event to event.
Yeah, definitely. So it kind of leads on nicely to the next question then. So how important is word of mouth marketing? So we've covered obviously there the importance of networking, but obviously coming out of networking is that building relationships and then going on and spreading the word. So Lee, how important is word of mouth?
Oh, it's extremely important. It's something I've focused on a lot in my career and also in my business, because to give an example, when you meet the first person, they're learning more about you. They're taking a vested interest to find out what your background is, like what Tracy was saying before, finding out about the hobbies, the interests, getting to know each other. And it's that fact I said before, it's about, who knows what you know. Because if you're out and about somewhere and you're at a Glasgow Girls Club event and you're chatting to somebody and a little word just pops up that goes, oh, I know somebody I can introduce you to. if it's a charity based or it's something just personally wise. So if it's charity, for example, most importantly, you'll go, do you ever spoke to Elaine Sargent? No doubt many people go, oh, we know Elaine. They know that she's very well known in the networking spheres, but especially now we're embracing a hybrid type of online and offline. You've now got a wider audience to speak to. And it's listening into those words that come up in the conversation that, you know, you automatically go into, and it might be the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth conversation down the line that word of mouth has been passed on to somebody. You know, and I do it in networking. You know, if I'm speaking to somebody, what would you recommend, Lee, for networks to go to? Well, go to X, Y, and Z, try these, see how they work. You know, I'm all about embracing collaboration with each other because we're all in for the same way of supporting and helping people to get more visibility and be more communicative to each other. So again, it's listening to those little words, and word of mouth will never, ever change. It's one of the best advertisements ever in business.
I totally agree. You know, obviously a large part of my business is social media, but it's never enough. And I'm a total believer and backer of that old-fashioned meet people, get to know people, speak to them and build those relationships. And yeah, there's nothing better than when you get that little buzz if somebody needs help and you can go, I know somebody, I can help you.
Just to throw this in, I mean, many people see me on the golf course, but in the world that we're living in right now, golf is a way of me getting out and about and meeting people face to face. But it's having really good conversations around 18 holes of golf, and you really find out about people and individuals, but it's just building upon those conversations. And you know, I did it when I was in my travel career, meeting people, knocking on the door, going to travel agents and speaking to them, training, giving them information, communicating, even dropping off carrot cakes for people as well, just to give that personal touch. But again, word of mouth, 100%, Heather, thank you very much.
Laura?
Love it. Yeah, no, totally agree with everything that's been said. So word of mouth, I think that there's been studies done that say that word of mouth marketing, if you like, is 95% more effective than any type of advertising, because people buy people. And if your friend or relative or colleague says, you know, you could see a Facebook ad on something and then think, I might get that. And then someone says to you, I've used that, it's amazing, you're right on and you're buying it, because it's that kind of reliability and it's the trust. And like you say, it caters to your want to, as a human, want to help other people. So if you can connect to other people to help for like a mutually beneficial collaboration or you know, working with a charity partner, then you feel great about it. It's good for your mental health.
Yeah,
I think so as well. I would agree that with all of everything you've both said, and I think for us, one of the main things of meeting face to face is we're able to sort of share our stories firsthand of actual families and individuals we've helped. Now, obviously, we don't ever divulge the person or the family, but we can give an example of, you know, who we've helped and how we've helped them, and perhaps a wee bit about the circumstance behind it. And I think that's what makes it real for people, makes them want to help us, because there's that transparency there that, you know, we can tell you where your money's going. You know, we can tell you who you're helping if you're able to support us. I think that's quite important as well. Whereas I don't think that really you can ever get from, you know, printed materials or, you know, a social media post you read or something like that. I think to hear that firsthand is kind of what hits home, I suppose. You know, and it's real life stuff, you know.
Yeah. And I guess as well, the that word of mouth, actually, so you mentioned social media as well, it has that secondary position now, doesn't it, as well, where you can give your second, I suppose, word of mouth via social media, isn't it, as well? So every time you share something, or like I love to take a wee screenshot of, say, this event, and we can share it on social media. And again, it's word of mouth, but on platforms. And I think particularly with lockdown and the growth of social media and people being online as well, and everyone having to pivot so much as well, that you've got that other opportunity as well to add on to it. So while, like I said a moment ago, I'm all for you need more than just social media, it does have that added extra, doesn't it, of being able to share there as well.
Well, it's definitely helped us grow our visibility, Heather, because we didn't have really social media probably even as long as probably 6-7 years ago. You know, we're although we're an old charity and we're around a lot, we've taken us a wee bit to get into more modern times. So over the recent years, certainly it's made a big difference to people knowing who we are and what we do. And that's just backed up then by any opportunities we have to talk to people in person, but that's not always possible, you know, and yeah. I suppose, you know, you can't be, there's loads and loads of networking events and they all have their place and they all have their different bonuses, but, you know, you can't always get round them all, unfortunately. So that's where I think the social media is great to keep the flag flying and the message across and to share different aspects of our work, which is fantastic.
Yeah. I go say before, sorry, it's about if you're out of sight, you're out of mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not being seen regularly. And there's two words I want to share with everybody today is consistency and perseverance. There's two key words. And social media gives you that platform to do so. When you even just do it, you know, as I call it the RBC, it's a little bit of TLC, and it's just about a tag, like, and comment about what you're doing on a post. Tagging people into it is you're shining a light on those individuals in your social media, and I think it's extremely important. But yeah, out of sight, you're out of mind. Keep it consistent.
Yeah,
it's true. So Tracy's just dropped off there with her signal. She's just trying to get back in, but we'll just continue until Tracy comes back. So Laura, tell us how you heard about Glasgow Care Foundation, and was it through business networking?
So I heard about Glasgow Care Foundation through yourself. So I guess, yeah, you can take that back to business networking because that's how you and I first connected. And I was really pleased to hear all about the Glasgow Care Foundation and everything you do. And then that led me to go onto the social media, find out more, as humans we naturally do, straight onto a website or a social media channel to find out more. And then I was able to connect with Elaine, which was lovely, and have Glasgow Care Foundation as one of our charity spotlight partners in the GGC Facebook group. So Elaine, you and I did an interview similar to this. A recorded interview which went up on our YouTube channel, and also being able to include, you know, the things that you're doing and the kind of different communications that the GGC do. I think it's important for, I think Glasgow people are really good at it, Scottish people are really good at it. I think it's really key to support local charities doing great things because your city or the area, the county that you stay in just improves.
Definitely. Lee?
Well, I met Elaine, was the first person I met, and that was back in 2017, early part of that year. I just came out of a career with a holiday company and started networking, and it was Southsiders in Business, Elaine, that we met down at the Village Hotel. And I tell a story to many people when I talk about networking in general, and Elaine is part of that story, being at that first event that I went to, 100 people in a room, meeting some key figures, and then heard about the Glasgow Care Foundation. And then Revitalise was launched. You know, we've done the sort of like Christmas lunches and what have you, but it was through networking, seen at 29 studios. That was in Glasgow, going to Speedy Meets and all these other little networks, EEC, you know, when they were down at the Dry Gate, just seeing Elaine visibility quite regularly. And of course, over that time, the GCF has been a nominated charity to the Revitalise, connecting people really as a business and also the club for just over 4 years now. So yeah.
There we go. So it does work.
Definitely.
Okay, so Lee, tell us, how have you used your position in your organisation to help support the charity?
Great question, Heather. Really great question. I mean, over the years, as Elaine mentioned previously, I've done some sporting activities over the years. So within my company, I wanted to make sure that the GCF, as a local charity, like Laura was saying before, it's a local based charity. And I was based around Glasgow to start with. So I positioned it as one of the nominated charities in the Revitalise Business Club from the start. So we've done Christmas lunches every year. When was face-to-face, that was at various different restaurants and hotels. I've done sporting charity raises for the Great Scottish Run, which I did a few years back. I'm doing it again next year. So I am in training again now, getting the legs in movement It's been hard over the last week to get myself up to 5K again, running it completely, but I'm there. So it's getting there slowly but gradually. And also promoting it through, the Revitalise Business Club network community, people understanding what the Glasgow Care is all about. We just did the first in-person event in the 1st of September, where we did a percentage of the ticket price went to the Glasgow Care Foundation. I think it was £100 in vouchers provided just from the day. And it was great to get that. So for me, I'm always promoting the Glasgow Care Foundation where I can. I'm always sharing where I could possibly do it. And then within the club is trying to give visibility where we can at specific points through the year to really shine a light on what they do and how they help so many underprivileged children and families across the whole of Scotland, really. Yeah.
Yes. We really appreciate it, Lee. It's been great, everything you've done for us. And I think that last event was good because, again, back to being in person, there was a buzz in the room because people had been away from that for so long. Right. So it was certainly the first event I've went to in person since lockdown. So it was great. It was fantastic. No, and a bonus that we got a donation alongside it, which was great. That was just a cherry on the cake. Yeah, brilliant.
Just a wee thank you for all the work you do. Sorry, Laura.
Well, I think everything that Lee sounds great, and actually, Lee, you're totally selling your business club to me, I have to say. I'm sitting here like, okay, yep, I'm definitely joining this business club. Sounds brilliant. Again, the power of networking and connection. So yeah, just as I was saying before, connected with Elaine through you, and was then able to, you and I actually sat last December, Heather, and the GGC Facebook group had grown to maybe about 25,000 women or something. And I was saying, it's such a big platform. I really want it to do good in the city, and what can we actually do to shine a light on people that are out there helping others, because what they're doing is so commendable. And then you and I developed the Charity Spotlight opportunity. Every month we look at a different local charity and find out what they're doing and let the community know about it via our email, via the groups, and via our magazine publications. So it's key, I think, for everyone to do their bit. Like Lee was saying there, he does so much. So I think, yeah, if everybody's got that mindset, gets out there, meets people, meets heads of charity, goes out and meets Elaine, finds out about what other people are doing, and just do their bit. Because like Lee said, it could be just a like on social media, it could be a share of their post, it could be a connecting them with someone not everybody's able to financially provide, but to being that cheerleader on social, shouting about what they do and telling people is sometimes just as powerful.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I think it comes back to that ambassador position as well, where some people are in the position to fundraise or are lucky enough to be able to take some ticket money, which is absolutely amazing. It's the same as what SWIB does. But just that word of mouth as well, and like a like, a share, or a save in social media, it just allows a bigger audience to start seeing things as well. So there's so many different ways, whether it's money or visibility. So Tracy, welcome weback.
Yes, I'm back. I don't know what I've missed, but I'm sure it was great.
We were just discussing there about so we'll go back to the previous question for you as well. So how did you hear about Glasgow Care Foundation? But also, how has SWIB been able to support Glasgow Care Foundation?
Well, it's been a bit unusual, obviously, over the last couple of years, but I would have first heard of Glasgow Care Foundation through meeting Elaine at a SWIB event, probably before you became Charity of the Year, I would imagine. Like you say, you're a serial networker, so everybody knows you, so I'm sure that would have been the case, but it's a few years now. And then every year SWIB will have the membership will nominate people to be the Charity of the Year, so we just don't pull something out of a hat. So probably through Elaine's networking, because it would have been someone else that nominated them. Other people have nominated Glasgow Care Foundation to be the Charity of the Year for SWIB, which, that's a great testimonial to you, I think, and what you do, Elaine, as well as what the charity does. So that was back in 2019, and that should have lasted for a year. But the horrible thing that happened then happened. And it meant that the fundraising that we would normally do, we weren't able to do as much of it as we wanted. we take a portion of our ticket sales and that goes to Charity of the Year, and that normally equates to quite a decent amount of money, but obviously that was cut short. I think we only had a few months of that before it was cut, and we stopped charging for events, obviously, because they were online. We did manage to get in, I think, our Christmas raffle, which always brings in a decent amount of money, so that was good. But then after that, it was all just, it was both negative and positive. Negative in that we didn't get as much money as we would have liked, but positive in that we switched the way that we collected that money. We started using Glasgow Care Foundation's own online, I think it was a Virgin account that you had. So that meant that rather than waiting until the end of the SWIB year to get those funds, especially for for a charity like Glasgow Care Foundation, to be getting that money, however small it was, to get that money on a regular basis rather than waiting until the end of the year, I think has been a real positive. So we will probably continue to work like that. And we obviously extended the Charity of the Year from being 1 year to 2. So that has now only just come to an end. I'm very sad to say that. And I think something that I would really like to say as well is just thank you to you, Elaine, because you're always offering to do stuff for us. What can I do to repay, and can I do an event? Can I talk for you? But there's always things that you're offering to do to pay back as well. And I think that's quite, in my experience, that's quite unique, just how focused you are on that. So that's been great. I think it's been a great relationship. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I just wish that we could have done a lot more. But I think we've done the best of what we can, I think, in the time.
Yeah, well, it's been fantastic, Tracy. I mean, you say that you maybe didn't raise as much money as you anticipated, but actually I think if we look back at all the different money that's come in, there's been at least a good couple of £1,000 came in. Yeah. So it's actually been quite substantial, even given the COVID circumstance. So, and I just feel, and from the point of view of, it goes back to this relationship and reciprocating, if people are putting themselves out there and raising money for us, then we need to step up and say, how can we help? Albeit we've got, a limited resource, we like to do as much as we possibly can, because that's a relationship and you have to work together. And if you don't collaborate, then, it doesn't really maybe work as well as it could. So that just kind of, I suppose, comes naturally to us to do that. But I appreciate you saying that I didn't realise it was unique. I just assumed that most charities would do that. So that's good to know.
Everyone does. Everyone gets involved, but I think just the level of involvement from you has been really refreshing. I've really enjoyed it, and I would recommend anybody to partner with you going forward.
Thank you, much appreciated.
Yeah, I'd second that. I think when we're sitting here discussing, obviously, the importance of, Leo or Tracy, all your networking groups, it is important as well that, obviously, Elaine, as the charity, that you are seen to be out there too. And I think the fact that everyone knows who you are and, enjoys working with you is so important and, an asset to Glasgow Care Foundation.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate
it. If I
can
just add something else in as well, if you don't mind, because you've got Elaine who's regularly networking, regularly being visible, active and engaged within all of our associations and groups. What's also good about Elaine, I'm going to really shine a bit light on here for Elaine as well, is that she'll communicate to you if she can't make it. And then Alistair, the man who's about 7 foot tall, then comes along. You cannot miss him out without a doubt. I look like Frodo. He looks like Gandalf. He's literally that tall. But again, it's having that balance and that support structure and the help and advice that you give to people and wanting to give your time to people, Elaine. And that's what really makes the big difference with everybody. It's in the groups and associations from SWIB to like the Glasgow Girls Club and Revitalise Business Club. So between you and Alistair being involved into that, and now Heather communicating that is a consistent flow, hats off to you. It's absolutely superb the work that you're doing. Really well done.
Thank you. Well, Alistair's our chairman, so he engages in networking when he can, so he thoroughly enjoys it. And we've also got other trustees who engage from time to time as well. George Clark is one of our newer trustees who you'll probably be familiar with at various networking things, and also Tom Berry, who goes along to various things as well. So we try and have a bit of coverage across the board between the team, if that makes sense, so that we are still visible where we can be.
Excellent. Okay, Elaine, just to finish up, can you tell us a bit more about the Christmas appeal and what you're looking for this year to help the charity?
Absolutely. Well, traditionally, what we used to do over a number of years was we used to collect in physical goods, and each family we'd been to throughout the previous year who had children, we would then give them a supermarket voucher to choose some food for the Christmas dinner and some toys from Santa's list. But when COVID hit, that kind of put that on the back burner, because obviously we couldn't take in goods, couldn't handle goods, couldn't distribute goods. So for the last couple of years, what we've done is we've just went down the road of highlighting our Christmas campaign, because at that time of the year, people really do feel it, I think, more, especially if they've got children and there's extra expense there. So what we do now is we encourage people to donate online on our website. Our new platform is Just Giving, because Virgin Money Giving is ceasing to exist at the end of November. Don't know why that is, but they've taken the decision to do that. So we now have a new platform, so people can donate a small amount, a large amount, or a regular amount if they can on our website. And in addition to that, if people would rather donate something physical, they can go to Asda, Tesco, Primark, Farm Foods, a local supermarket chain. And if they can just buy a gift card, write the amount on the gift card so we know what's on it, and then they can just post it to our office address, which is in Govan. Again, it's on the website. And then what we will do is we'll distribute these vouchers to families in need prior to Christmas, so that they can then have that, I suppose it's a wee bit of a dignity of choice. They can buy either food for their Christmas dinner, or they can buy toys for the Christmas Santa list, or perhaps some wee bits and pieces like jammies and socks and toiletries and things for family or friends, or for their own household. So it's to give them basically a choice to go in and buy what they want. So the supermarket cards work very, very well for that. So if you're anyone out there is in a position where they're able to donate either online a monetary amount, or buy a supermarket card and send it to us, we will ensure it definitely goes to a family in need before Christmas. And if there's anyone who does it maybe a wee bit later in December, that's not a problem either, because actually in January, that can be, if not worse than actually December for some people, because January can be a long month, as we all know. So the cards will be used over the period of December and January to help people with food. Often we could get a request for a cooker or perhaps a fridge, but within that household, if we were to open the cupboards, there might not be really much food in the cupboard to make on the cooker or put in the fridge. So that's where these supermarket cards are vital, because it allows families to go and just alleviate that food poverty situation they're in, even just for a short time. So that's kind of Heather's working on all the razzmatazz of getting it all looking fab and getting all the social media posts out there to promote it. But that's the two things really, is online donation or supermarket gift card, both of which will help a number of families in the Glasgow area over the next couple of months.
Thanks, Elaine. So yeah, a couple of things that are coming out to watch in socials. So obviously we've got our Christmas tree appeal. So basically, if you have an event that you're going to be doing, or you're in an office, even if it's part-time just now, think about what we'd love to see is all your staff or attendees to your events to bring vouchers and decorate the Christmas tree with it and send us pictures, get it over your social. Again, it's just word of mouth, and it'll just be a really cool picture as well. So have a think about that. If you're doing any events, get a Christmas tree up. I'll be doing that later on today. Also, Secret Santas, maybe this year, instead of a Secret Santa giving everyone gifts, maybe everyone can give a £5 voucher. Every little helps, and it all adds up. So just really thinking about, what do you do as an organisation, or as an event, or even as family and friends? Do you get together? Is there some way that you can adapt a part of that to put some of it towards vouchers? And if you can't do the vouchers, then like Elaine says, a donation online, if you're doing a raffle or something, is just as helpful. Another thing as well, if anybody does know anybody, obviously family is a massive, massive focus for Glasgow Care Foundation. And there are children out there who don't have the privileges of necessarily getting to go to any Christmas events, a Santa visit, Christmas stories, anything like that. So what Glasgow Care Foundation will have this year as well is free messages from Santa, storytelling with Santa's elf and also with Mrs. Claus, and that'll be available from sort of middle of November onwards on the YouTube, and there'll be links through social media as well. So if anyone can't get out to events or it's just not possible, then there's something there, and they'll be specifically designed that they'll work for any kid at all. And they're, you know, we're being very careful with them as well. There's not that, oh, looking forward to lots of presents on Christmas Day. It's all about the spirit of Christmas as well. So they'll be good fun, and I have to say I'm enjoying getting those ones together and meeting Santa again. So I can guarantee they're quite magical. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Lee, Laura, Tracy, and obviously Elaine for taking part in the panel. It's been lovely to see you all again and to chat about networking. I think that everyone can agree across the panel that networking, words of mouth, and building those relationships are so important, and hopefully we can continue to do so. I will share this post, the links for getting in touch with Elaine as well, if anyone's got any questions or want to support or thinking about Charity of the Year for next year, or just want any information on Lee, Laura or Tracy's organisations, then all the links are there too. Please get in touch, and maybe next year we'll actually have a face-to-face panel as well. Thank you very much, everybody.
That's good. Thank you. Thanks everyone. Thanks.
Thank you.